All right, guys. So we are back with something to sip on. This is part two to the video that we did yesterday. So we got three more questions or three more topics to discuss back and forth. We are in a special guest location here today because we have some other stuff that we're filming. But we're gonna go ahead and pick right back up where we left off. So Luis, go ahead and start us off.
All right, so first, would you rather question is, would you rather be stuck in traffic or be stuck on the tarmac? Let me tell you, boys, I've experienced both of these.
Yep.
They're not fun.
What's it? The tarmac?
Yeah, on a plane.
It's like on the
before
runway.
before they take off, like you have to sit there and wait for a little bit before the
Oh, in the plane?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I actually have a horror story about this where I was flying back from Washington, and because of the storm, we had to be rerouted to a whole other city. And in that city, because that wasn't our original route, they didn't have a terminal for us to actually go to offboard. So we had to just wait on the tarmac for, I don't know if you guys remember, but it was probably like 2 or 3 hours, I think, where we were just sitting there on the plane, can't go anywhere, and that's on top of our flight.
Was this during your birthday?
This was during my birthday week, yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Actually, the day before my birthday, night before my birthday, so hours before my birthday. And yeah, it wasn't fun. I just sat there for hours on this plane, like waiting to offboard, and it just took forever. And then even on top of that, I was in a whole other city that was not the city that I live in. So then I had to like fight to get a rental car. It was a mess. So that's just my experience. I don't know that that's necessarily gonna sway me in the other direction, but just wanted to share the story.
So you don't have any initial feelings one way or the other as far as like where you're leaning towards?
I don't know, because I've also had some really bad experiences with traffic. I'm from LA, so I've had some really bad experiences with traffic there as a passenger. I've had very small bad experiences there as a driver, or a very small amount. But San Antonio traffic can be bad depending on the day and where you're traveling to. So, that's also not very fun. And I've been to some of the bigger cities and had some traffic experience there, like Houston and Dallas. So that can be equally as bad because that's something that's kind of a regular occurrence, versus the tarmac is like, how often do you really fly? So it's like one time thing versus it's probably going to be reoccurring. I don't know, maybe we're looking at it wrong.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, for me, like, I feel like the most notable differences are when you're stuck on a tarmac. Like, typically you don't have much leg room, so like that's the biggest thing. Is if you're stuck on the tarmac, it's uncomfortable. Like you get kind of restless, but you can at least like get on your phone, take a nap, do other stuff. If you're stuck in traffic, the big thing there is like you can't relax because you got to inch forward every few seconds. So you still have to be engaged with what's going on. Like you can't divert your attention to something else.
I was just gonna say that what Joseph said too is that's kind of how I feel too. I feel like there's less responsibility as for you when you're on the tarmac. And I know like the planes aren't the most comfortable, but I mean you can take a nap. Like I feel like that's easy to do, especially with a 2-hour nap. I'm an expert because of 2-hour naps. 4 hours, borderline. But I will say, at least for me, the benefit of being in traffic is that you are in your own like space. And if you're someone who likes to kind of have control of their time, you can probably feel like you have more control in traffic. And for me, I have performances in my car. I'm a singer. If I'm going from point A to point B, I'm singing from point A to point B. So, maybe it's just a blessing. I can enjoy an album, that maybe is based and download on my phone from another pad over here. So, I don't know, that's like when I first heard this question, I was initially leaning towards the tarmac, but me as liking music that I have on my phone and have the opportunity to listen to it, I think I kind of lean more to traffic.
I think for me, I'm also leaning towards traffic because it's kind of takes me back to like the elevator versus the ski lift discussion, where it was like I want to feel like I have some type of control over the situation. If I'm stuck on a tarmac, I can't get up from my seat. I can't move. I'm stuck inside the plane. It's kind of the same situation almost. You know what I mean? Versus if I'm in my own truck, I like to think I'm pretty savvy when it comes to shortcuts and know my way around the town. So for me, I would rather spend my time trying to avoid traffic and finding little, places to dip off or whatever, and just constantly keep driving, versus me being able to sit like stuck somewhere. So like when I'm stuck in traffic, I'm always trying to think of like, how can I get out of the situation? Now I know like this is something that we are sitting there stuck in bumper to bumper, but I feel like the idea of me possibly having more control is more appealing than knowing that I absolutely can't do anything sitting stuck on the tarmac. You know what I mean?
For me, being stuck in traffic is like infinitely more frustrating than being stuck on the tarmac. Being stuck on the tarmac's like, you know, it's upsetting, but at the end of the day, like, you know, you can't do anything about it. You don't have control over the situation. Whereas when you're stuck in traffic, I mean, again, you don't have control over it, but something's just so frustrating about being stuck in, for me, like, and I don't get road rage at all, but like being stuck in like standstill traffic is just like, oh my God, like what is going on?
Honestly, I think like when you think of like the scenario of being stuck on a tarmac and you think of like what you're doing to be in that position, you know what I mean? Whether it's trying to get to a destination like for a vacation, or either you're coming home. So there's two different ways I like to look at it, and one of them is like, okay, am I gonna miss a connecting flight potentially being stuck in a tarmac? Like, I feel like, or you know, am I gonna miss, you know, 8 hours of my time being stuck on a tarmac of my vacation that I'm not gonna be able to gain back? You know what I mean? So there's additional scenarios that play into effect when you're stuck on a tarmac, versus if I'm stuck in traffic, like I'm trying to get home, I'm trying to get to work. Like that stuff is, please make me late for work. You know what I mean? Like I'll take that. You know what I mean? Versus if I'm stuck on a plane, it's like I feel like it's more negative impact towards my own life or my vacation or whatever I'm trying to do. So that's another scenario as to which I feel like I would not want to be there.
See, I want to add to that, but on the flip side of that coin, what I mean by that is you're stuck in traffic. So yeah, you have to sit through all of that, regardless of what that's going to look like, whether that's an hour or whatever that's going to take. And all you're getting to do out of that is go or get to work.
There's nothing to look forward
There's
to.
nothing to look forward to. Whereas if you're stuck on a tarmac, you're possibly going to a vacation that you're going to enjoy. Yes, you might lose some time on that vacation, but you're still going on that vacation where you're away from work, you're away from everything else. You get to enjoy yourself on that vacation. So it gives you something to look forward to with being stuck on that tarmac, or vice versa. You're coming back from the vacation, and maybe you're not looking forward to coming back, but you just enjoyed yourself at a vacation. So you enjoyed what you were doing before all of that happened. You still have that positivity, that energy from the vacation when you're coming back. But if you're stuck in traffic coming home from work, for instance, I don't have the energy. I don't want to be having a performance in my car. I don't have the energy to do that.
Wait.
I listen to music, I relax, I try to make it home. Or if I'm going to work, I like that even less.
Here's
I'm
the
not gonna be
thing.
excited going to work.
If you're stuck in traffic, we know that there's traffic. You know that when you leave your house to go to work or come home from work, you know there's going to be traffic. That's an expected everyday occurrence. When you go on your vacation, you don't anticipate sitting on a tarmac for whatever. You don't expect those delays necessarily. You expect it to be smooth. You come in, you leave when you're supposed to leave. You know, departures and stuff like that with an airplane, those are not something that's typically expected, versus driving every day for work. You know what to expect every single day. You know you're gonna sit in traffic. You know how long it takes you to get home from work with traffic. Like, that's an expected occurrence, versus when you're on vacation, I don't feel like you're necessarily saying, hey, I'm counting into my schedule that I'm gonna sit on this plane for an additional 30 minutes to an hour because of unforeseen circumstances. When you're traveling to and from work, you are already accounting for that time because you know there's gonna be traffic. So for me, that's why I would prefer traffic, because it's like, I know I'm going to deal with this. I know how to survive this. I know that I have control over how I'm going to handle the situation, versus in a tarmac situation, it's unforeseen. You have no control. You're stuck sitting there doing whatever, like, and potentially you're losing your time on vacation or whatever.
I think so. Kind of jumping a little bit on Luis's point, you know, talking about like the adding vacation or like getting something like worthwhile, like you're losing the extra time. For someone like me, you know, it's just my personal preference, but I actually enjoy a little bit of chaos when it comes to vacations. And those of you that know me, I love a little bit of chaos when it comes to weddings too. I feel like just the fact something goes wrong makes it much more exciting and a better story to tell because I am a storyteller, you know. And so to me, a more fun story to tell would be being stuck on a tarmac from a fun vacation. It would be kind of a little more exciting for me to tell of a story
There's a story
versus
there.
a car traffic. You know, 'cause that, like Paul's saying, that is something you see every day. You know, that is something that's a regular occurrence that you expect. This is the unexpected thing. And as a storyteller, to me, that seems a little more appealing in that perspective if I'm looking for a great story to tell.
I'm just gonna look at this from a surface level and say, I am more frustrated in traffic than I am on a tarmac. If I'm sitting on a tarmac, like I'm chilling, I'll find something to do. I'll get on my phone, or I'll read a comic book, like I'll listen to music. If I'm stuck in traffic, like for some reason, being stuck in traffic just frustrates the hell out of me. So I'd much rather be on the tarmac, get rid of traffic any day of the week for me.
I feel like I see where you're coming from that. I see where it's like traffic's frustrating. But for me, when I think of just sitting on a plane, packed in like sardines, sitting next to strangers, I'm not comfortable. I've already been sitting here for 4 or 5 hours on the plane. I'm not getting food. I don't have drinks. I'm stuck there. I literally cannot move if I wanted to. My original point is that like I don't want to be packed like a sardine next to some stranger.
Yeah.
I'm probably already frustrated because the flight's been 5 hours long. I'm uncomfortable. Like I don't want to sit there longer than I have to. Traffic is something that I'm.
So you're more comfortable in traffic.
I'm
'Cause
more
you deal
comfortable
with
in
it
traffic.
every day.
You deal with it every day. It's
Yeah.
an expected, inconvenience. Like it's something that everyone deals with. Plus, to Adrian's point, I'm in my own element. I'm listening to my music. I'm singing. I'm doing whatever to pass the time. Personally, I love driving. Like regardless of the situation, and I think the four of you can agree that I do like to drive. And even if I'm sitting in bumper to bumper traffic, like I'm chilling because I'm driving. Like I like being out of the house. I like driving around. So traffic to me is not a big deal. But sitting next to strangers, like I'm not a people person. I feel like, you know what I mean. So I do not want to sit next to strangers. I don't want to be packed in. I don't want to be uncomfortable. I don't want to be not in
I
control
get
of the
that.
situation.
You are the tallest of the four of us too, so probably you've got less leg room like in the
Exactly.
tarmac.
So
Unless you're like first.
final
class or something.
answer for me, regardless of any other additional statements you guys make. I'm hardcore traffic all day long.
I think I see pros and cons for both. You know, I was like, I feel like I gave points for both, but I'm gonna side with Paul on this one. I think my final choice is going to be traffic.
Good man.
Ladies?
I'm gonna have to go tarmac.
I think the ordeal of like what I have to do to get on the airplane to be stuck on the tarmac, like that's way more frustrating and stressful to me than sitting in traffic, going through security, taking off your clothes, getting patted down, like
Taking off your clothes.
sitting.
Taking off your clothes.
I
Oh
mean,
my God.
depending on where you go, if I got, I'm just saying, you don't know. You don't know.
Yeah.
I've been patted down multiple times at the airport, and let me tell you, it's
Dude.
just not a good time. And then you gotta sit there at the gate and wait to
They-
get onto the
Paul
airplane.
went through security and they said, "You're good," and he said, "Are you sure? You don't tie me down."
So I don't know. I just think the headache of like everything that has to be done to get onto an airplane, and then on top of it to sit there and be stuck on a tarmac.
Yeah.
No, thank you. But yeah.
Alright, so-
are we 50-50 on this one?
I think we're
it's a
50-50.
50-50, wow. Okay, well, I mean, that was a much deeper discussion than I thought we were going to get on that question, so I appreciate the feedback there.
A lot of factors to consider. You
There
know,
is.
Like,
There
there's a lot
honestly
of personal
is.
preference.
I would-
Obviously, so.
Definitely interesting to hear y'all's perspectives on that for sure. But what's the next one, Luis?
I almost read a question from last night. Would you rather move into a haunted house or move into a racist neighborhood?
I'd rather be in the racist neighborhood, 100%.
Yeah, I think that one's a little easy for me, just because I do not mess with spirits, like
Yeah, I don't fuck with ghosts.
all that other stuff. Although I did go ghost hunting one time, and that was pretty cool.
No.
I'm not gonna
Ghost
lie to you.
hunting?
Never.
What type of white friend?
So I would have to say a racist neighborhood, because that's a well, I don't know what the word I'm trying to say, but like that's something that's like tangible in a sense, where like if I needed
Without
to,
getting too like real in the situation, that's more everyday life experiences versus
Yeah.
paranormal activity.
Yeah, and I feel like you can solve that or kind of handle that in a certain way.
I feel different. Like honestly, I'm leaning more towards going to the haunted house.
Ooh.
And I'll say this because I too do not mess with spirits. I remember watching Paranormal Activity when that first came out, and that really messed me up. Like messing with the paranormal activity, like yeah, like it's very scary, but like I don't know. I feel like you could work with in my head. You could work with that versus living in a racist neighborhood. I feel like I'm more scared of people than the dead. I feel like people are more dangerous, and then like
I can see that.
I mean,
and, like I don't know, especially like I don't know, because I don't, because some people, especially when you see like things that people do, it's kind of that scares me more than like paranormal activity.
I can shoot a person, I can't shoot a ghost. Let me tell you that.
I think my thing is like I see your point on that for sure, but I think like circling back to the tarmac, circling back to the ski lift, it's like people is something like now people are gonna do what they want to do, obviously, but to Luis's point, like the paranormal is like it's unknown. I can't defend myself against paranormal activity versus a human, a tangible person. Like I can handle that. I can see them. I can do what needs to be done to handle a situation. But paranormal activity, it's like the unknown. You're helpless. You're stuck in that situation. Like you don't know what kind of spirit or demon or whatever it is. You know, are they inside of me? Are they in my house? Am I being tortured every day? Am I physically being hurt? Like can I don't know. It's just there's too many variables with that situation, and that would traumatize me a heck of a lot more than dealing with a racist neighbor. You know what I mean? Your home is supposed to be like your sanctuary, right? Your safe space. So when I think of if I'm living in a neighborhood of racist neighbors, my neighbors may be racist, whatever the case, that's outside. I'm still in my sanctuary, they're outside. Versus paranormal activity in a haunted house, that's my sanctuary. You know what I mean? So I'm being terrorized, whatever the case may be, in my own sanctuary, which is just not. I will never go visit you at your house if you go choose the haunted stuff, but give me racist all day. Like I will deal with that.
Racist all day.
Give me
They'll be my
racist.
best friends.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
My people.
Oh my god.
So it sounds like the majority of us are leaning towards racist neighborhood, but
Yeah, I'm leaning towards racist. I mean, it suck, but they both suck, and I feel like that's the lesser of two evils.
Yep.
So
the final answer for
Final
you.
answers going around the board here. What do we?
I'll take the racist.
Racist.
Oh,
Oh,
racist,
don't
racist
say it like
neighborhood.
that. He said racist. Alicia, you racist?
No,
Racist.
no,
Okay, we would choose to live in the racist neighborhood.
Racist neighborhood.
Oh my god.
Adrian, what are you choosing?
How should I'm choosing? Oh man. I was just
about that?
living the spirit.
You got a spirit with him
Oh,
that
that's
kind of
haunted
swallowed
house.
us.
Poor
For the
choice
kids.
there.
Oh man, so I'm not going over to your house, Adrian. No, thank you.
I wouldn't go over your neighborhood.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, but they hate against his people, not yours.
Hey,
I
his
mean-
people is my people.
Either way, there's gonna be some white cheese.
Either way, there's gonna be some
Some
stuff.
white cheese? Oh my
Okay,
God.
next
Get it?
question.
Oh,
That
no.
just goes.
All right, guys. Final question for today is going to be: would you rather have $10 million, $10 million,
$10 million years.
or 10 extra years of life? And I have my answer right off the bat. That's an easy one for me.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say my answer yet because I want you guys to think about those responses.
I won't
and
say
then
my
you
answer
can
yet
guess what I
either,
think
but
I'm gonna say.
I could.
I mean, I feel like I'm with y'all, but maybe I'm not. Like, and I'll go ahead and just say, I think I really did it was 10 million?
$10 million.
10 million.
I think I'll do the 10 million. Just because I feel like I could do a lot with 10 million with the lifespan I have right now. Because I don't think living 100 years or 90 years really adds value to your life.
But that's assuming that you're gonna make it to.
I'm just giving
90
just
to
a standard,
100.
like giving, you know, an
Because-
number. I could just live to 70 or 60 or even.
What if the
40.
difference is 30 to 40?
I
Does
think,
that
I
change
think,
anything for you?
no.
You don't think from the years of 30 to 40 you can accomplish anything that would be meaningful, that would change your legacy of your life?
I mean, I don't know. I guess
Not, he said not 10 million's worth.
I feel like $10 million could be a legacy in itself, too. You know, like, and especially like to give.
So your legacy is gonna be money.
I mean, legacy would be given like opportunity to, like, let's say like a younger sibling, you know, like, and she needs money for school or he needs money for school. You know, like, I'd rather give that to that person to have that, you know, thing, not worry about money, you know, like, just worry about, okay, I want to get the best I can to something I'm passionate about. And, you know, sometimes money is a limiting factor to that. So I feel like, yeah, like this guy. And so, I don't know. So I feel like, not that is someone's legacy, I don't really buy that, but I feel like, to me, that sounds like a better option than adding 10 years to my life. If that makes sense.
Okay. So you want to do something selfless
Cool.
with that $10 million?
You want me to go?
I mean, you know, I
I
can go, but it's not gonna take me very long. There's not much of a conversation.
honestly,
to be had.
I want to hear your guys' perspectives before I say, because I honestly thought.
Well, all three are holding out.
Well, I thought
I'll go next then. If you guys don't have anything to
I
say
mean,
yourself.
I'll go next, but I don't have much to say. Like, give me the 10 milli. The 10 years is like, yeah, that's cool, but I'll take the 10 milli. Let me make the most out of what time I have left. And then, like Adrian said, you know, knock on wood, should I not make it to that 90 to 100 range, like, I have some extra cash to leave to, like, others, you know. So, I'll take that 10 milli. 10 years of my life, especially if you do end up making it to 90 or 100, like, if you do end up making it to 90 or 100, like, what are you going to do with those extra 10 years of your life?
Well, even like, I don't know, even with, like, I guess for the money too, it's like, I mean, I'm not gonna go bungee jumping at 90. Like, I'm gonna get ready to go to bed. Hopefully,
You're
I'm
getting
not
ready to go
working.
to bed? Yeah, you're getting ready to go to bed forever.
For all the 90-year-olds out there, you still
Oh
have
my
plenty of
god.
time.
Dude, if you're a 90-year-old, subscribe to our channel. Shout out to my purrs.
If you made it to 100, definitely subscribe to our channel. It's the last thing you'll ever do.
Oh, by the way, we are on the road to 75 subscribers, so
On the
subscribe to
road
the channel if
75
you're new.
milli.
Comment down below any video ideas you have for us. Luis, I want to hear your perspective before I chime in.
So I'm actually going to change the narrative here, and I'm going to go ahead and choose the $10 million.
What? How? What? Oh, man.
Oh wait, you guys do $10 million? Yeah, no, definitely. I'll take the $10 million too. And this is
Luis
my
said,
logic.
I'll take like $10. If you got like $10, I'll take that over 10 years.
See,
You got a free chicken sandwich?
as long as it's not Wendy's, I'll take the
Oh,
$10 million.
Oh, my God.
Okay, hang on.
Yeah.
Okay, $10
I'll
for
take
you.
10 years less. Over the
Okay.
Well,
It's hard 'cause
I feel like-
sets in.
I feel like you can make the argument either way, because I feel like you guys are all thinking, like, you know, if I'm, the 10 years is like 90 to.
Yeah, if
to
it's gonna be like
100.
40 to 50.
But like, if you're thinking it's like 30 to 40 or 40 to 50, like, okay,
That's more impactful.
think of like, you know, think of having a family. You're having your kids. You know, you have, okay, let's say your son is, or son or daughter is like, or they or them.
I was gonna say, I already hear them.
They're, you know, 10 years old or whatever, right? So it's like, over the next 10 years, you could possibly see them graduate high school, go off to college and graduate, potentially get married. Like, would you rather sacrifice those 10 crucial years to be able to walk your daughter down the aisle or see your son or daughter
Yeah.
graduate from school or potentially have grandkids? Or would you rather have $10 million and never get to experience any of those life events? Realistically, when I think of adding 10 years onto my life, I think of like all of the memories that could potentially be had. You know, time is valuable, life is short.
Time is money.
And I feel like
$10 million is money.
those moments, you know, like when people talk about like loved ones, or they talk about, you know, people, not to get like too morbid or anything like that, but people on their deathbed and stuff like that, they would give anything to have one more day, one more minute, one more second. So it's like, when I think of it in those terms, where it's like, take me back, please just give me the extra time. I would do anything for that extra time. I think that's worth $10 million.
You know, and I think that that's a great point. You know, and that's definitely something that does make me want to think more about it. Because, you know, because I do value those things like you mentioned too. You know, like, you know, if I were to have children, you know, I would like to see them get married or have grandkids, or well, have their kids, you know, be my grandkids, or, you know, any like, or just, you know, like little things like, you know, like soccer ball practice, or,
Soccer ball
You know,
practice.
just, hey, I mean,
So, I mean, with all that being said, where are you guys leaning on as far as, are you guys sticking with the original answers?
I feel like Paul made a very compelling argument, and it's one that's like I 100% have an emotional reaction to, although I've never lost anyone, so I don't have anybody in my life that I'm like, God, I wish I would have had 10 more years with them. So I don't have that personal experience, but I think I have the empathy to know how that would feel. Like if I were to lose a family member and it not be, you know, when they're 90 or 100, where it's kind of expected, or vice versa, whether that's myself. You know, if I were to go at 30, for instance, I feel like I could have done so much more in my life to impact other people. If I lived to 40, for example. So it's definitely making me think, and I think I kind of have like a threshold. If adding 10 years was an option at the age of 50 or younger, I would probably take adding 10 years. If it's over the age of 50, I think I would take it to the 10 million. I don't know if that's an appropriate answer.
What if it's on your 50th birthday?
Then I'll take the 10 years. But the day after my 50th birthday, I'm taking the 10 million, baby.
So, I'm just going to go ahead and just say you chose to take the 10 years.
Yeah.
For me, like, that is an appropriate threshold to say, like, if it's at this point, I would take $10 million, but if it's before that, I would say 10 years. So, for those purposes, I'm going to say that's our threshold for this conversation. Therefore, I'm accepting Luis's answer of 10 years, final choice.
on that note, I think I still would take the $10 million.
Joseph?
Yeah, I'll take the 10 million. No,
10 million, still no hesitation about it?
No hesitation about it.
I'm like, I mean, obviously I don't want to die. Nobody wants to die, but it's like,
Some people want to
okay.
die.
Good,
Sorry.
fair point. Most people don't want to die, right? But it's like, I don't know. I don't really have much of a counter argument so much as it is just like a gut feeling. Like, just give me the 10 milli. I'll do what I can with it, and then whatever residual there is, like Adrian said, I'll pass it on through. So pass it to the homies.
Well, I really thought that I could sway more people. I mean, I for sure thought that
It was a good argument. It was-
making the
I was about to take
argument
the 10 million.
and saying that you guys can have more time with your loved ones, because I feel like I'm very sentimental with like movies and stuff when people are like, I just want more time, or I'd give anything, or just give me that one extra minute, or like when you talk about like if you could have somebody, like if you could have a conversation with somebody, that's dead, sit there on the park bench for an hour, like who would you choose, type of thing. Like I always think about those scenarios, and I always think like that time is invaluable. And but with all that being said, I'm taking the $10 million, because let me tell you why I'm taking $10 million.
Okay,
top 10 anime betrayals of all time.
Luis, your face just looks like you. Oh my god!
Dude,
like
if
you've been
you
passed
thought
out.
for
It's gonna
If you thought for a second that this man wasn't taking the 10
Get
million.
me now. I feel like Daytona right now. Every time I throw the ball in the yard and make her run after it, and it's top 10 animal betrayals, because I felt like, you know
Dude,
what?
it's so obvious.
Yeah.
What do you
The emotional decision
Yeah.
here is what I was going with. And I'm happy to see here that at least, my friends are taking the $10 million. So when they pass before me, because I chose the 10 years, maybe I'll get a cut of that.
How dare you put that evil on me, Luis?
Maybe.
No, I didn't talk about you. I was talking about the 3 people that said $10 million.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not you.
Well, let me
That is
just
a dangerous assumption.
Luis,
Yeah.
you chose money in like every other money scenario that we've had. How did you not choose the money here?
like, let me just specify something here.
I'm drinking.
When I started talking to play devil's advocate, like it was just that. I really didn't know what I was gonna choose until I heard, at least got my perspective out there for the 10 additional years. I do think that it's extremely valuable, and I do think that there was.
Oh, I don't want to hear anything you have to say anymore. Let's just.
No,
That's
but,
it.
but like
I'm
for real,
hurt.
I
I'm
do.
broke.
I do think
Want us?
it's valuable
Want us?
for time and whatnot, but I don't know. When I just think of like $10 million, like I don't have to struggle. If I do have kids during the time that I'm alive, they don't have to struggle. We could live the best possible life in those 10 years. Or like with that $10 million, like let's do it. Let's have fun. Let's do it. Like let's, you know,
Tell me, I didn't see it coming.
the time that we could have with $10 million, like let's take off of work, let's just travel, let's do this, and like you know what it's gonna be like. I don't know.
Get him, bitch. We're going traveling.
You can have the best life with $10 million. Like I know a lot of people say money doesn't buy happiness, but I feel like honestly,
You're gonna have the best life in 10 more years.
you can create a lot of memories. And although 10 extra years of life would be great, you could still potentially be struggling for those 10 years. You may not even have a family to spend extra time with. Like nothing's guaranteed with 10 additional years. $10 million, I can have a lot of freaking fun with $10 million. So
Money doesn't buy happiness, but you can lease it, dude.
hey, there you go.
You can lease it.
So, I mean, with that said, we gotta. I duped Luis into changing his answer, but I just wanted to have.
Something to sip on.
I just wanted to have the conversation had because right off the bat, everyone was so dead set on $10 million. I just wanted to throw the dangle the cherry out there and just see
Daytona.
who
Come
bought.
here.
But
Come here.
with that being said, this has been another Something to Sip On video. Comment down below next video ideas. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. We are on the road to 75 subscribers.